Waterfront Committee of Waterfront Parks and Cultural Committee. And I'm Paul Goldstein, and Andrew is here co-chairing. And so the first item that we're going to quickly comment on is Barnett Newman Triangle. And as far as Barnett Newman goes, Barnett Newman is, there is a proposal to basically leave it in place until November of 2024, because the artist is prepared to leave it there and proposing to just let it stay there, and unless anybody has an objection, we would leave it there. So that is the report.
Is that a sculpture, Paul?
That is a sculpture.
And
Was it supposed to leave earlier? Is that the issue? So it's just been extended?
Yeah, it is a sculpture, and it just hasn't been taken down yet, and nor has it been asked to be taken away.
well, what's the usual procedure? Isn't there a time limit for these artworks?
Well, they came back and they asked if they could leave it there for an extended period until November of 2024.
So there's no other art to come in. So we're not holding up anybody's art project that's supposed to come in. So it's basically, you know, if they take it away, there won't be any art there.
That's correct, as far as I know.
I think it's okay to keep art outside until
Well,
there's a replacement.
I love art, but
So that's the story on that.
Thank you.
Yeah, so just to Wendy's question, the confirmation came back that they do not have any other proposals for the site at the moment.
well, as long as they make a date when they take it away, because I love art and I love seeing it all the way, but if we have a precedent of doing one thing again and again and again, you know, I don't know where it stops.
How long has it been there?
I'm not sure exactly how long it's been there. Do you know?
Carrie has her hand up.
It was installed roughly end of April, because it was shortly after the Parks Commissioner met Alice and I there for a site visit. So end of April.
So Carrie, you might know more about this than we do. Is there anything else that you know why this is an issue or not an issue?
So, sorry, just before you answer that, this was triggered by an email sent to, I think, Tammy, Paul, and Alice from Elizabeth and Sella from Parks on September 28th. Hope everyone's doing well. When we last met to discuss Barnett Newman Triangle, I had mentioned that we had an extension request from the exhibitors of the 4-foot sculpture. I believe you were going to discuss with others. This request unfortunately fell off my radar, but I wanted to revisit this as the current exhibition is due to conclude mid-November. Do not currently have any other proposals for this location. Looking forward to hearing from you. So that's what triggered the conversation.
Fine, I'm in favor of these.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Kara, if there was something you wanted to respond to.
I don't have any more information about the art project other than the rough timeline of when it was installed. And then I'm sure there is a group of neighbors getting together to start a friends group and get a 501c3 to make more improvements in that area.
Yeah, and that was also referenced, and there was no update that anyone was aware of regarding setting up that 501c3.
Starting with what you
So-
call. Sure, let's go.
What's Tammy's and Alice's position on this?
On the 501c3,
No, the keeping of the art there.
So
Well,
I'm reading.
I don't know that they've taken a position.
So Paul, let me just read an excerpt from Tammy's email back to Elizabeth. For the community board, the question at hand seems to be if we would support the extension, since the CD supported the art exhibition and you don't have anything to replace it with as yet. It makes logical sense to extend the current exhibition beyond mid-November.
sure, we don't have to take any action. So let's get on to the next item.
Does anyone have a strong view opposing that, just supporting what's there because it's not interfering with any other planned activities?
Well, I think we should have a end date unless there's a goal to keep it there permanently.
No, it sounds like there is an end date.
November 24th.
No, it was scheduled to end mid-November.
And they
The
wanna
request
extend
is To extend it. We'll find a new date. I'll come back.
Fine.
We'll come back to you. Does
Yeah,
that work for you, Paul?
This idea is it should be.
Yeah, I was
Yes.
told it was November 24.
Okay, that,
Yeah, there should be new art at some point.
but we'll clarify that.
Yeah. Thank
Okay.
you.
I mean, we should be able to revisit if if other art is available or if it somehow interferes with the, the work that we're trying to get done at Barnett Newman. But
Yeah,
otherwise, we could extend, I suppose.
okay. So in the room now, we have 7 of us. I was just texting Tammy about.
Who has joined? Who has
Richard
joined
approved
you?
for Online, so Paul and Richard are approved to be online, so that gives us 9.
Yes. Who else joined while you guys were discussing?
Have you guys scanned in?
Not yet.
I scanned in. Yeah.
You're not.
Who was that?
If you could just say your names, yeah.
If you could just say your names,
David
thanks.
Sheldon.
Elizabeth Lewinson.
And,
Sheldon.
and who?
David Sheldon.
Oh, okay. Thanks, David. All right.
Oh, I was just texting with Rosa. She's not gonna make it.
Yeah,
so now
We got you.
November then, okay.
Okay, so should we turn it over to Carrie and Michael? Paul, is that?
Yeah, I guess so. It seems that way.
Okay. Give me 1 second and I will share the screen.
And why don't you reintroduce yourselves, because not everybody knows you.
Okay, I'll go first. I'm Carrie Parker Davidson. I'm a public member of Community Board 1. I'm on the Transportation Committee. I'm also the president of Friends of Duane Park. And I've been at the organization for almost 28 years. The Friends group has a restoration project team. Some of them are probably in the attendee section, but Michael Quinn has been our captain. So I'm going to turn it over to Michael. Michael Quinn is a board member of Friends of Duane Park, and he'll take you through tonight's presentation.
All right, thanks, Carrie. Hi, everybody. It's particular.
I think we have the wrong park slides up.
I was gonna say, we don't have the right one.
that's a beautiful,
Make it particularly challenging with the Friends of Peck Sled.
it should only be. By the way, if you Google Duane Park, you'll get some very interesting results.
True. Please make sure to put the word historic in there, or you'll be taken to the.
I'm sorry,
burlesque
are these the
bar on the
incorrect? Are
Bowery.
these slides incorrect?
That's correct. It's the not quite. It's the wrong deck.
Oh, would you like to send me the correct deck?
Oh, I could, or I could present from my computer, whatever is.
Yes, you can do that. Let me just.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see here.
Okay, you can go ahead, Michael.
Okay. Oh, install driver.
I can probably share from mine. Let me see. I can share from mine, Michael, and you can tell me when to advance the slide.
I think we're good. Let's see. Share. Yes, here we go. How is that? Do you see that?
Yes.
We do, yes.
Terrific. So thank you. Let me just jump into this. This is a very brief presentation. There are only about 9 slides. And the purpose of the presentation is to bring you up to speed on a resolution that was passed by the committee, by Community Board 1 a couple of years ago. And we have some additional information, activities since then that we wanted to apprise you of, and request a slight amendment to the language based on what we have found out and what feedback we've received from the community. So this first slide, this is in effect what the current resolution has approved of Duane Park, and it's the resolution approves of the restoration of Duane Park. I don't know if you can see my cursor, but this dotted red line is the current footprint of the park. And what has been approved is this larger outline of this restoration outline to its historic footprint. And we were looking at that and realized, well, gee, that's wonderful. We're glad that was endorsed. And it's a significant amount of sidewalk. In fact, it's 1,600 square feet of additional sidewalk compared to additional screen space of 253 feet of green space. So all well and good. And we wanted to share that. Our next step after the community board was to take that to the Department of Parks and Transportation. And we sketched out that footprint onto the western section of Duane Street and invited Commissioners Perez and Picar and their teams to spend time with us going through what the restoration, how that would materialize, how that would manifest. And our original estimate with their team was $400,000 to implement the restoration. Their team came back to us a number of months later with quite a bit of a higher price of $1.7 million. And right around that, that's an awful lot of money for sidewalk. And at the same time is when the resiliency program of Lower Manhattan really got traction publicly. So it's been very much so on the top of mind for us. We're a parks group, so resiliency is very important. And when the higher price was a catalyst for us to imagine, should the restoration and should this price have a role in resiliency, and what would that be? And so we went back to Signe Nielsen and asked her to sketch out, well, what would a resiliency approach to the restoration be if the footprint doesn't expand at all beyond what has already been approved? It's simply that ratio of concrete to green space that we were concerned with. And so Signe came back with a design that instead of having sidewalk continuing around the entire perimeter of the park, we would instead have greenery extend to the southern edge of the park and really not add much more sidewalk. And you can see on this grid to the right that the second option for the restoration is to add quite a bit less sidewalk, 260 square feet of sidewalk as it extends west into Duane Street, but to add 1,600 square feet, almost the inverse of the original proposal of proportion of green space to sidewalk. That certainly seemed to address our concerns, but we also realized that who are we to decide? And we really need to engage the community and ask the community if this is something that they want for Duane Park. And so we did that, and we laid down a decal onto Duane Park, and we wanted to have people be able to walk through it and experience what that new footprint would look like in either option, and then be able to cast their vote online one way or the other. And so this is a quick 45-second video of that process. So that was our decal, and we had some weather challenges. We had originally hoped to have that whole process of decal application, inviting the community on September 10th, but we got rained out. It was a very rainy September, and so closer to the end of September, we were able to do that, and then we invited people to come explore, vote with the QR code. We were on hand, Friends of Duane Park, to explain to passersby what the different options were. Printed cards, flyers from the original dinner, and also at Laughing Man Coffee on Duane Park ran that video for a few days. And at the end of the day, at the end of those few days, over 300 people had voted. And this is how they voted. Option 1 was the original plan, the historic restoration wrapped with a concrete sidewalk. Option 2 was greenery only to the southern edge, so that higher percentage of greenery. And option 3 was do nothing. And so that is how people voted. And the voting seemed to be pretty decisive, that more greenery was preferred. And so the action that we are here this evening to request is a change of 4 words in the resolution that has been approved. And that is, rather than restoring the sidewalk on the southern perimeter, it's to add resiliency and add greenery to that southern perimeter. And if possible, we'd like to also ask for a further resolution urging cooperation from the agencies and elected officials to help fund the project. Our next steps with that resolution, should that be successful, that amendment, is to go back to the DOT and parks, ask them to update their capital needs estimate based on the preferences of the community. And then we'll go to Congress or Council Member Marte and other elected officials to seek funding. And that's it. That's what we have for you, and open to questions.
Yeah.
So Paul, before I go around the room, do you want to start with questions or do you want to wait until the end? You personally.
I want to do that. Ask, get questions first and see what's out there.
Got it. So Joe?
Is the greenery the most expensive option?
Did you hear the question, Michael and Carrie?
I did, and we don't know yet. That's going to be a conversation with parks, and so we don't have a good answer to that.
Parks and have them price option 2.
Well, it matters how I vote, but to know the numbers. I don't like people also saying that it's part of saving our shoreline, when I don't know how far it is from the shoreline.
Okay. Wendy?
I just wanted to congratulate you both for, one, making it so tangible for the neighborhood, making the outline on the street, the really big attractive sign, the QR codes, the, really bringing the imagination directly to passersby. So I've advocated this for a long time with a lot of the projects that we're doing around the city. So I just wanted to say, on a small scale in a small park, you guys nailed it in my mind in terms of making it as straightforward and explainable, and straightforward as possible. And I think having people vote, is great. I would also say that your proposal, it kind of never made logical sense to walk on the sidewalk all the way around. The 2 sides are the logical sides. So I think that you came up with a practical plan as well. And, I certainly as we know, that the heat island effect this summer was extreme. And when you walked into the park this summer, you did feel a difference. So even though it's not very big, it's small but mighty. So thank you for doing this work.
Anyone else in the room? So I have, I guess, 3 very quick questions. One, with option 2, is it greenery in the form of plantings, or will there be function built into option 2, meaning more benches or or something of that nature.
You know, I think that is to be discussed with parks. The one of the things, frankly, that led to the higher price were some considerations that the Parks Department had that we had not included. And so that may be the case. Our thinking currently certainly is an additional tree, as well as more understory to the southern edge. And then there needs to be a conversation with the Parks Department.
Okay, and then apologies, I just can't recall who bears the financial responsibility for this?
Well, it's a collective effort of funding that we would lead the effort, whether that funding is from elected officials and some capital raise, some combination of that.
Okay, and then I'll throw this out there. I don't know if this is a question necessarily for you guys or for us. You're proposing amending the existing resolution and issuing a new resolution. I guess my question is, can we somehow just make both edits to one resolution?
I think so. I think that my understanding is that or hope for sure, is that we can amend the existing language, but that the further amendment, that language, I think that specific language is something that can be added to the current resolution without issuing a new resolution. It's my understanding.
Yeah, we'll figure that out. Paul, Richard has his hand up. You want me to go to Richard first?
Yeah, you call on people.
Okay, Richard.
Yeah, of course, I think we were all unanimously supportive of the original resolution of extending the park. It's a wonderful idea. Certainly better than the concrete streetscape that's there. But the price, as Joe was saying, the price is really relevant here. So I'm curious to understand, first of all, what was the impact, what was the driver of the tripling of the cost estimate, number one? And number two, I really have a problem supporting this without having some idea of what the cost is going to be, particularly of the different options.
You want me to take that one, Michael?
That would be great.
So the Parks Department, so our project costed out with Signy was $400,000. The structural change between greenery and sidewalk would be less than that. I'm guessing Signy hasn't costed out, but the fact that you're not laying out sidewalk along that southern perimeter and rather just extending green space, had we been doing this as a private investment or a private piece, I don't think would be a significant change. If anything, it would probably be a savings. What happened is the Parks Department, when they want to undertake a project, they do a full needs assessment on the entire infrastructure. And what they found was, and we had pointed it out in our presentation back in July of 21, is that some of our sidewalks along the northern stretch were in need of repair. So that's why when they looked at our project, they didn't see it as just an addition of a southern sidewalk and western green space. They saw it as an overall capital needs project for the entire park infrastructure. So it includes more than Signy's costing had done. So that $1.7 million capital needs assessment includes a southern sidewalk and redoing the entire sidewalk perimeter, northern sidewalk, accessibility considerations, because we have Belgian block at the entrances, and that's not accessible because you can't roll over those four. So anyway, there were accessibility components that they want to address at that time also. And if we're going to invest $1.7 million, whether it's on a sidewalk or greenery, we agreed that we should make it accessible. So that's why there's a change. I don't have an answer, probably a good enough answer for you, Richard, on what the difference would be between greenery and sidewalk on that southern perimeter. But I honestly don't know the answer. I can guess that it would not be as significant to have sidewalk implemented there as just moving the curb and filling it with more soil. So
So we have, are you okay with that, Richard, or do you have a follow-up?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask one more thing. So you talked, Terry, you talked about resiliency as part of this. I mean, obviously, just trees are, you know, an element of resiliency, but are you considering anything else in there, like some water catchment, bioswale, anything like that as well, given the extension of it and the opportunity to do something even more extensive?
So I'm not sure that where the catch, so we have to bring in DEP to look at the relocation of the catch basin. That was not, it's unclear whether or not that was priced into the park C&E. So that's why before we can even get to a revised capital needs, we need the support to be clear that it's not for a restoration of a sidewalk on the southern perimeter. It's for an expanded green space. Once we have that, then Parks, DEP, and DOT can say, okay, now the capital needs assessment looks like X, and here's the dollars, and here are the agencies that are going to be involved. The bioswale, I just don't know enough about whether that location, because where it is on the corner near 166 Duane. So where that curb cut is and how that fits together, I'm not sure how the bioswale would work with that curb cut so close. So it's too early until we get sort of a firmer design document and a capital needs assessment. Let me answer the other piece about resiliency. So there was always a resiliency aspect, right? Pushing the park further to the west and adding that impermeable, permeable landscaping.
Yes.
But no, I don't envision large water tank storage or anything like that. And I'm not sure that the way Duane Street is sloped, that it would be very efficient to have that sort of infrastructure under that street. So anyway, we don't flood.
Yeah.
It's not a pooling place. It'll catch more rainwater, and it'll do a lot to reduce the amount of asphalt and heat island. But it's not, I don't think it's a good spot for a water catch basin or any of those other measures.
Thanks, Kerry. One last question. Is it possible to split the project into the concept that you had and the rest of the capital needs that the city is talking about?
I did not get an answer. I would love for them to say, because we could do this project, just the additions, without doing the rest of the project, we can fund that. In fact, when we first came through, we said that we were unlikely to need to tap city resources because we felt like we could bear the brunt of that through our fundraising and our reserves. But I did not get an answer on whether or not they would allow us to do a limited scope project and then have them do a larger project when they had funding available. So
is the financing then the 1.7 plus the 400? Is that?
no, it's
what-
1.7 for option 1, according to Parks Department.
Right.
And
And
option 2 is, we don't know yet.
so would Duane Park, Friends of Duane Park be funding some portion of that or not?
I imagine that we've always been a good public-private partner. So this is why we raise money. So if we're not spending it on this, I don't know what you don't just raise money to raise money. You raise money to put it to work. So we'll do our part. And it's a question of, how much can we raise and how much do we need the agencies to kick in? So, we're prepared to do our part. I can't raise 1.7. I don't know. I could try to raise $2 million. But I feel very confident in my ability to get our 400 in.
Great, thanks, Richard. So we have two more questions in the room, Paul.
Just quickly, any idea where the city bike dock would be relocated?
So I don't know, Michael, do you want to take that or you want me to take that?
I'm happy to take that. The in conversation with Commissioner Pinkar, the process for dock relocation is a little bit murky, which is in this case kind of works in our favor in that there's a lot of motivation to have those docks be relocated nearby. But there's not yet been a conversation about where nearby they would be.
Right.
Thank you. Sorry.
The city bike would be relocated in the area, but hopefully in a way that doesn't create people going the wrong way on Duane Street to get to the Greenway.
Yeah, so the $1.7 million estimate, it's my guess, because I'm seeing a hydrant there, that's probably part of their plan. Because if you're gonna extend it, are they gonna leave a hydrant there? And it's probably, water supply work to be done. In that $400,000 estimate that you have, does that include relocating of the fire hydrant?
Yes, so the 400,000 included relocation of the hydrant, relocation of the catch basin, and the sidewalk. The reason it gets to 1.7, Eric, is because they want to look at the interior of the park. Our original plan was just to put that little band around the outside and move a little west. They're going to look at the entire park. That means redoing all of the fencing. It means redoing all of the sidewalks, even the interior parts of the sidewalk. So it's a much, their view is that when you do a project, you want to do it thoroughly and once. And the smaller scope, I think, was not consistent with that general preference.
Okay, thank you.
I just want to.
You gotta speak louder.
I just want to respond as a city bike user, and I often use the one on Wayne Street. I know City Bike and DOT are always moving the city bike docks. You can show up at a city bike dock that was there last week, and it's moved. I think the Wayne Street one was moved several times.
Yeah, that's why I'm wondering, because it was moved from like close to Greenwich and now it's moved here, so where's it gonna go? It's running out of space on Duane.
I know. I'm sure they'll find someplace near for it. And then there are several others. There's one in Harrison, and there's one on a little south of it. Yeah, Hudson.
Yep.
So, Richard, your hand's still up. I'm assuming you're good. Mark, is that Mark Amaruso?
Actually, I have another one, but you can come back to me, of course.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So, with regards to, sorry I couldn't make the meeting. I'm in traffic and would never get there till like after 7. But in regards to the Citibank relocation, can we add a clause in the resolution that states wherever they relocated to, that it not take away alternate side street parking, which they seem to love to do?
No.
We're okay with that?
Yeah, they're gonna buy that, Mark.
That's
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. I guess this is our last question, Richard.
Yeah, so I want, Carrie, I'd like to now ask about the timing of this and why the resolution is important now, rather than us waiting till we get more information about the costing and the ability to separate the projects and maybe your ability to fund. So I'm wondering what the issue is in terms of timing.
In terms of timing, so the reason that we wanted to have, well, two things. One is we wanted to give you an update because this is a significant departure from what we had presented, which is that we could do this project. And it was a limited project and we were, ready. So that's why we're here. The reason that the resolution changed, and it's that the resolution specifically speaks to the sidewalk. And so I thought it was important for the community board to hear that the neighbors have voted overwhelmingly not to restore the sidewalk, but instead to make that into greenery. And that seems significant. So if we look at just the resolution that was passed previously, I don't know if Michael, you still have ability to do that, but the resolution that you passed previously specifically says restore the sidewalk. And so I wanted to make sure that we have community board resolution. If you go to the next one, yeah, there, that it specifically says restoring the sidewalk. And so before I go back to parks and say, I'd like to revisit this whole project scope. I also wanted to make sure that we were talking about the same intention of design. And I want to make sure that the community board supports this change. So that's why that is important. And, this is really all we're asking for tonight. The rest of the design, the movement of the city bikes, I'd like to crowdsource that, just like we did with our public engagement around this decision. I'd like to include the neighborhood in where we put common carriers, where we put, but this is transportation related stuff, where we put the city bike. I think there are a lot of things that once, further down the road, but that's a year and a half away. Right now, we're just trying to get Parks and DOT and the community board first to support this change, and then Parks and DOT to get behind either a limited scope project where we can do it, or the larger scope project that has a clear design element about the green space. Does that answer
Great.
your question?
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Carrie.
We have one more question in the room, and then I want to give Paul a chance. So Elizabeth?
Yeah, so you're asking us to vote on something, but we don't have complete information as of yet. I mean, why don't you just come back to us with the complete information and then we can vote on it?
I think
I mean,
what she
I know
wants,
you
I
want
think,
us to endorse it.
I think she wants the resolution to then open the discussion again with Parks, and she wants the
But
resolution.
you don't need support. You don't need our endorsement to open the conversation with Parks, do you? I mean, you've clearly already had a conversation with them before about the first plan, the first scope. So I just don't feel comfortable voting on something when I don't have all the information personally. Maybe other people in this room feel different.
Well, I think that, it's not my turn to speak.
Sorry, do you want to respond?
Yeah.
Guys?
Do I want to respond? I would like a resolution showing this is a change, and I'd like the community board I'd like the community board behind that change.
But we don't know how much it's going to cost. I mean, that's part of the equation here. So what is the downside of just going back to Parks Department, working out the new costs and then coming back to us? Why is that not on the table for you guys?
What
Well,
happens? Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just thinking that, I'm assuming you will come back to us just like you're going to go out to the public throughout this whole process.
Right. This is an iterative process. My experience of doing the restoration back in the 90s, and community board was structured differently that way, but that you need to show the agencies that you have the community support. And right now, community support is on record from CB1, the resolution, as restoring a sidewalk.
So the other thing is if the original resolution had just said Friends of, supports the Friends of Duane Park in its efforts to restore the park's historic footprint.
Period.
The
It
southern,
would be,
the
right.
southern perimeter and if you had just not said sidewalk, if it just said historic footprint, and then you leave it open-ended as to what that means.
Right. But I didn't.
Right, exactly. No, I understand.
We didn't. I asked for sidewalk restoration in the language, and you were generous to grant it. And then it was, unanimously voted in favor at the full board. And now we're asking for a different design. So the resolution is not consistent with what we're asking our elected officials and our agencies to cost out and fund.
Sorry, I want to get Paul in. Paul's been waiting and hasn't had a chance yet. Paul?
I tend to agree with their request. I think we should go along with it. I think their request is what seems to be the consensus of the community, that we should ask for it and we should go for it. That's what I think.
So just before we come back to some other questions, as a matter of procedure, I've been communicating with Tammy, and I'm just gonna need some help here. I'm not sure I fully understand her comment. So I was mentioning we have 8 people in the room, plus Paul and Richard online. Can we proceed with a resolution if necessary? Her response was, call it advisory, cannot be official.
Question, who are the people that came in after David?
Morton,
Okay.
Markup King.
so, I mean, given that advice, how do we continue this conversation and act on Paul's? I'd like to get an answer first, Joe, if we can.
Sure.
So I'm not sure I understand what it means. Advisory cannot be official. Does it mean we can take a formal vote with this committee?
Well, if we can't take a formal vote, then we shouldn't.
Right.
You want executive to do it? Is that the idea?
So Inej, do you have a sense what she means by call it advisory cannot be official, or might need your thoughts here too?
Unfortunately, I'm not sure what she meant, but what I do know is that without quorum, we cannot have a vote.
I think what she means is that we can vote, and then when we present it to the full board, we indicate that it's just advisory because we didn't have quorum.
So here's the situation.
I think I was overhearing.
Okay.
I think that's accurate. You can also do it in exec as well.
Are you Zach?
It's also my second day. It's Zach Palmer.
We're all so excited to see you.
So yeah, I think that would be. the way.
So
How many people are in this committee? Because quorum is half, and this isn't half.
we need 10,
This isn't half.
and we have 8 in the room,
None.
2 online.
None.
Who
Yeah.
are the 8 in the room? Give me one
I
moment,
sent
please.
a very specific message to Tammy. We had 8 in the room, plus Paul and Richard online. Can we proceed with the resolution?
And Mark online too.
7, 8.
Okay,
Okay.
Mark online, but what she's saying is, we need to call it advisory because we don't
Mark, I
have.
sent you a message.
And we could ask executive to vote on it.
Correct. So Paul has put forward a notion of supporting the request. Should we take an initial vote to,
I have a question.
sorry, okay, Joe?
I have a question.
At some point, I want to bring this to a
I
close.
understand that, but, so I forgot her name, but she said it's a new
Mary?
proposal. If it's a new proposal, I want to see numbers and what they're going to do. I just don't want to vote on something that is not definite.
So we can vote and you can vote down.
Right,
if you
yeah,
like.
but I just
And you
wanted
can
to
also
make the
ask for
point-
that language in the
I just
understanding.
wanted to make the point that we really don't know what we're voting for.
I agree with that we need details, but I also see value in retaining the sidewalk. If you're gonna have this expanded park, you need to be able to walk around it and not just from the 2 entrance points.
If you go back to the slides, you can see
I was gonna say, if you actually walk on that part, it's kind of a dangerous, that's the dangerous, like you're walking in the street all the time. It's not the logical part to walk on. At least for me, I know that the city bikes are there sometimes, but it's not the safest place.
So nobody walks there now, right? So if you look at this design, where we've added green spaces where the city bikes are now. So it's the same exact walkway that exists right now. So you go through the center of the park, not along the southern perimeter, and you come out on the northern part and you can cross to, the other side of Duane, or you can come where that hydrant is relocated and you can go over to where 174 or 176 Duane is. So nothing changes in terms of your sort of pedestrian experience, in the sense that all we've done is take city bikes, simplified, take the city bikes out and put dirt there. So
So can we?
I
move
can
forward?
pull up the cost estimate that we showed you back in July of 2021 of the scope, the cost estimate that Signy created for this space. And it'll show you the cost of the sidewalk. It will not show you the cost of dirt. That would be the difference in this plan versus the other. All the other components are the same as we envision them in the limited scope. The hydrant and the light pole are relocated. The catch basin is relocated. All those costs are still in place. The only thing that's different is dirt versus cement. Would
Okay.
you like to bring those
Last
up?
comment, last comment before we go to vote, guys. We got to move on.
Move the question.
Okay, thank you.
You,
So,
Point of information. My understanding is that without a quorum, you can't vote.
so we were just discussing that, the guidance we got from our
I
district.
overheard that, but I think what you discussed was incorrect.
Well, I'm going to suggest we default to the guidance of our district manager, and if it turns out that we're not able to do that, then it's unwound, I guess.
It's not a valid, you're voting on something that won't exist. That's the whole point.
let the district manager ask the borough president what the situation is when there's not a quorum in the room.
Again, our chair
Welcome
just told
aboard,
us
sir.
what the process is. We can do it in an advisory capacity, not official. I was seeking clarification on what he meant.
It's not correct, but this has come up before, so it's not the first time.
Yeah.
Taking the temperature of the room, it's not, that's not official, it's
72,
not a vote.
72.
It's rendered void, then
Yeah, I agree. Let's take a vote. If it's not considered valid, then we all understand where we are. So,
Yeah, it's not, it won't be an official vote because you don't have quorum.
That's not the issue. The issue is can we vote? So I would like.
We're-
you to
so-
call-
You're not actually.
so here's what,
I'd like you to call the borough president.
Joe, we don't need to do that. Here's what I suggest we do. Let's take the temperature of the committee and then we'll report it at executive committee. And they can take it up. Right, here's what was discussed. Here's where we landed on an informal vote. And exec can move it forward. That make sense?
Yeah.
Okay,
Well, can I have another suggestion? I don't know if you want to bump this up to the executive committee, considering the expertise on this committee. You might want to just run it as new business at the full board. Do you want them to rehash this entire thing?
No, let's vote.
But you can't vote. That's the whole point.
it just isn't sure how it will be read, if at all.
yeah, I personally don't have an issue, although again, I'm going to defer to Paul.
They tend to
Paul,
go to
we can't,
executive.
it doesn't seem like we can take an official vote. Any vote we take tonight
Question.
is in an advisory capacity. If we do that vote tonight, I'm not concerned bringing it to executive committee, but again, I'll defer to your judgment on this.
That's my understanding, happened in the past.
Yeah, so what's the harm?
Okay, so let's take a vote. So,
Well, I think you shouldn't.
Can we just,
Just say, I'm taking the temperature of the
okay,
room.
let's take a temperature. of the room, all right?
can we just be clear what it is we're taking the temperature on?
Basically taking out, supporting Carrie and team who have done a beautiful job with Dwayne Park. She's come to us asking us to support this small wording change so that she can move forward with her plans. And I think Carrie and the whole Dwayne Park Friends group have been an amazing resource for our neighborhood. And they've, over and over again, if anything, they've over solicited the neighborhood with anything that they've done. So I'm in full support of that. They have.
Can
We all agree.
Carrie,
They're trying to advance the project.
request that Paul,
It usually just goes to executive.
This is.
the
exactly
slide that has the two,
here.
We just,
yeah, I think we're really
whatever we want to.
overthinking this. Do you know the slide I'm talking about where it has the revisions to the existing and the?
Somebody's just amending.
That one?
So what is this last part, if possible? We're not including that, is that right? It's just the yellow highlighted?
I'd be thrilled with just the yellow highlighting. I'll figure out the funding. I'll come back to you when we have the updated C&E, and I can ask for support for funding resolutions at that time.
So essentially, what we're taking a straw poll on is supporting option 2, what was presented tonight, which pursuant to the polling that was done at the neighborhood had 4 times more support than the first option. Right? So let's assume consent and work toward, are there anyone opposed to this? So we have 2 in the room, Eric and Joe, opposed. Anyone online opposed?
Amaruso opposed online.
Okay. Anyone abstain? Elizabeth Lewinson abstains. Any recusals? So Nesh, what's the final tally? We had 3 opposed and 1 recusal, so that's 4. And we have a total of 10 members or 11 members participating. So it sounds like the straw poll supports the request.
Yes, it does.
Okay. So Paul, I guess we'll figure out if or how this moves forward to executive committee. Yes, Paul? Okay. So Gotham is off the agenda. So that leaves Friends of
Who's going to present this to executive?
either Paul or myself.
Do you need us to represent it at executive? We can be there, or I can be there.
Well, the thing is that the vote was barely passed, whatever you want to call it, the stroll poll, whatever it is. And that needs to be explained to the executive committee as well, the reasoning behind the several no's and abstentions as well. So they can take that into consideration.
So Mark, if you're comfortable that it's either Paul or myself presenting it to executive committee, that's.
Yeah, that's fine. Just as long as it's explained to the executive committee.
Yep.
That's that particular subject.
And
Point noted.
Thank you.
If we need help, we'll come back to you.
can I get and is it possible to have an explanation of the no's? Is it because of the lack of a cost estimate of option 2?
That seemed to be the general sentiment, yes.
That park.
So I think we've fully fleshed this out. I think we're ready to go with our next step.
Excellent.
Okay. Text slip,
Where do you want me? Thanks, you guys.
wherever you want. So is it Carolyn or Caroline?
Caroline.
Caroline Miller,
Just stand up or just sit?
whatever's comfortable for you. If you want to have a seat at the table, you're welcome to.
Annette, can you get the presentation up for us?
Yes, give me one moment. Thank you.
You want to stand near it? That might be easier since we're going to be looking at that.
That's a
I
question.
don't care if you're looking at me. You can look at that. Okay. If you
I
want.
don't want to point to anything.
I was gonna say, you might want to point it.
I'll go over there.
No problem.
You've already seen the presentation.
Beautiful.
Like that.
Okay, so, thank you for having me. You know, after listening to all of that about Duane Park, it strikes me, that Duane Park is the opposite of Peckslip Park. The Duane Park is a historic park. It's with mature gardens. It's had neighborhood support for decades. Peckslip Park is the frontier. It's a brand new park, you know, in the park years. It's less formal. It was very, very poorly planted, and then it was completely neglected and everything died. So Peckslip Park, I'm sorry, Friends of Peckslip is a one-year-old organization that was formed to see if sweat equity and working with the Parks Department could do something about that. So, oh, thank you. The park is 2 blocks long from Water Street to Peckslip, to South Street. You know, what the community wanted, some of you know this and some are probably newer, what the community wanted was a very large open area for, you know, for kids to play and things with greenery around the outside. That's what we got. Next slide, please. So the park is very well used for events like this one. Next slide.
How many events do you have in here?
Oh, there's a lot. I mean, I would say not a huge number. There should be more, but maybe a dozen. There are also photo shoots. You know, there were 2 schools. We're down to 1, but the schools do a lot. The schools play there every day.
Yes.
In the weather.
Yeah, you can see Peckslip right there.
Next
Peckslip
slide,
I've never seen an event.
please.
Next slide.
Next
Linda.
slide.
This is dangerous.
There's a lot of sports, kids and adults. Believe it or not, they're playing badminton. Next slide. And you know, it's well used for people just walking the dog, eating lunch, relaxing. But other than a few trees, the gardens were a disaster. So actually, the Friends of Peckslip Park started right here a year ago when Paul invited the Parks Department representative for our area, Jamal Patterson, to talk to this group. And so I connected with Jamal. He connected us with our gardener for this area, whose name is Nathan Urick. And so here's what we were confronted with. The garden was either all weeds or it was just bare dirt. Almost all the original planting had died and it had become kind of an unofficial dog run. So Nate, our gardener, Nate, our gardener, was thrilled to have a community group to work with. He wanted, you know, he was very excited about building a pollinator garden with native plants. The idea was that we would have a garden that would be beautiful, restorative, educational for children and adults, and support the bees and the birds and the butterflies and all the threatened pollinators. So the first goal was proof of concept.
Not yet, Lynn. Not yet. You can go back.
Proof of concept. Can we get native plants to grow in this place where succession of plantings had just died? So the answer is yes. Here is an example. This is the northwest corner of the park, which is the worst dead zone before and after. Now the next slide.
Next slide on that.
Next slide is the southwest corner before and after. So you get the idea. Now, to get to our request here, I have to explain how we got from there to here. First, we got very lucky. It turned out that the Parks Department had not spent a dime on plans for this park in 2 years, or any of the parks in this area, because there was no gardener for this whole area, all the Esplanade and the whole area along the waterfront. So Nate was able to get a very healthy budget for plants last year. So 100 of the perennials and shrubs that he got, we were able to put in the garden. Next slide, please. That's Nate on the left. He's our gardener planting something this last May. So another very lucky thing is that it turned out that there is water in there, which we had never seen deployed in the years since it was built. So our group agreed to help plant, water, and weed those all the stuff that we put in, which we have done. 7 people took turns watering those plants all the way through the summer. Every day there was someone out there. The new plants desperately need water. You can't get through the first summer without water. And that's my husband watering. Okay. So what's in the garden? Next slide. please, owners. First, perennials. They're the kind of showstoppers, you know, in a pollinator garden. And the idea of a pollinator garden is that there should be something blooming from early spring to late fall. So this is May. Next slide.
Next slide on that.
Next slide. That's June. Next slide. July. Next slide. If you want. August. Next slide. September. Next slide. October. That's what it looks like right now. Asters. At any rate, the other thing that we needed in that garden was shrubs, and we needed them because we needed something that was tall, that would have structure, that would keep that structure in the winter when the perennials die, and that so you would see greenery from a distance and not just in the, next slide, please, not just in the park. So there's some of our shrubs. Now, I want to just point out that you'll notice these little fences. You see these little fences around the shrubs? I'm going to come back to that in a minute. Next slide, please. The shrubs are like from 2 to 3 feet tall now, but within a few years, they'll be 5 to 8 feet, and they'll really give us, you know, some serious greenery. Next slide, please. Some of the shrubs were built because they're spectacular in the winter, either because they keep their leaves turn red, or they turn yellow, or they have berries. We have a lot of berries, you know, choke berries and winter berries, and ink berries, and blueberries for winter stuff, for the birds also. And finally, next slide, please. We have grasses. And the grasses are left over from the original planting in the garden a few years ago. Almost all of them died, but some were left and they were straggly and sad. And this is what you get when you water and fertilize them. And they're fantastic. And they've moved a lot to better places. And last, and next slide is just a picture of how these things all work together. There we go, grasses, shrubs, and perennials. That's kind of combination. So the other big problem we had that we had to conquer, the thing we needed to prove, was that we could keep the dogs out of the garden enough to get things to grow. It's a huge challenge. Beds were not built to be fenced. It wasn't designed that way. And it would spoil the welcoming sort of, relaxed feeling of the space. But we had to protect the plants. So instead we fenced them with those little fences around individual plants, so the dogs couldn't urinate on them. We bought and installed the fencing ourselves, and I'm pretty sure we saved a lot of plants that wouldn't have made it through. The first summer is the most vulnerable time for new plants. But just as important, we asked dog owners to keep their dogs out of the garden. We asked them nicely, we asked them repeatedly. Everybody was out there working in the garden, asked people to keep their dogs out of the garden. We told people that their neighbors were working in the garden. They could see that their neighbors were working in the garden. We were surprised at how responsive they were. On the next slide, oops, dogs, sorry, I forgot about that. There's dogs, small dog. Okay, next slide. This next slide, this is Noah Chasen and his dog Vinny. And I put this slide in because Noah used to take his dog Vinny, who's a lovely dog, to the park every day and let him just joyfully run around in the flower beds and do his business. And, Noah said to me, well, it doesn't look like a garden. Then we had a heart-to-heart, and we loved the garden as things actually growing in it. Noah has become a big fan of the garden. And a surprising number of dog owners have gotten with the program. Actually, I saw Noah on my way up here tonight, and he said, tell them we really like the way the garden is. So we're doing okay on the dog front. But there are challenges, and that brings us to our requests. So first of all, next slide, please. We need more plants. So there are about a third of the garden is still not planted. And we're gonna need, we got lucky with the Parks Department this last year because they haven't spent any money on us in a while. No way to know whether we'll get that lucky again next year, but we need another, a big infusion of plants, and we hope that CB1 can support that to enhance the possibility that we can get that. The second challenge is soil. By midsummer, we were surprised to find that things that were planted on the south side of the garden were doing much, much better than things that were planted on the north side. When you're over there, you see it immediately. One side is huge, the perennials are huge, the shrubs are taller, everything is bigger. And then we, next slide, please. We really looked at it carefully, and we noticed this amazing thing. So perennials planted on the south side, the same day, the same plant, were twice as big, if not more, than the perennials planted on the north side. So there's some magic that's missing on the north side. It's dry, there's not enough organic material in the soil to hold the water. There may be other problems of dogs urinating in there for like 1 million years. Anyway, we need a professional, evaluation to figure out what's wrong with the soil and to remediate that. Which brings us to the next slide, which is our request. So we're asking for $1,000 for soil analysis by an expert in enhancement of those beds on the north side, including material and, organic material and mulch. We're asking for plant funding, $1,000 for more perennials, $1,000 for more shrubs, and $500 for more of the low fencing to keep the thing going. And finally, next slide, please. I'm talking to the screen. Next slide. Finally, I just should say that we are just beginning to build this organization. We have a website, excellentfriends.org. We have an Instagram account. We have a newsletter or an email list with 34 people who've signed up. 12 of them have volunteered to actually work in the garden. We're getting new recruits all the time. Whenever you're working over there, somebody stops you and says, well, "You don't look like you work for the Parks Department. What are you doing?" And it's a lot of fun. And they often go to the website and sign up. So we're growing. We are not a 501c3 yet. We thought first we wanted to show that, demonstrate that showing some love for this park could make a difference before we got really legally organized and started asking people to start all plants. We're going to be a bulb planting thing coming up. So we're building a community, and we just need a little more funding to make sure that we'll keep our momentum up there next year.
Thank you, guys. Let's be organized here. So go ahead. Can you put the slide back up on Ed in terms of their yes?
I should have added it up, $3,500.
You're going on the cheap.
I know. We're just starting,
Which slide do you want up?
One you're on is perfect. Any questions in the room?
So, great job. I'm a gardener myself, and you're exactly right in terms of the first year is so difficult. Water, I'm really curious where you found the water because I don't know where that is in the park.
I can tell you, there are actually 3 water hookups in the parks. If you're down there, they're just they look like boxes on the ground. There's 3 of them on the south side, north side, east side. And there's a special tool that you have to turn the water on. It's kind of cool. And when we were given that tool, it's like a little thing with, levers. We felt like, we've been given the keys to the city.
Right.
So we have a lockbox with a hose in it and the tool. And when we go over there to water, we move the hose to wherever we need to water.
So one of the things that I have learned is that an irrigation system in July and August is really helpful, a drip irrigation, that type of thing. Is that something that is possible? I know you've got these very difficult to connect this garden to connect the other garden? Is that the idea, is that you can't connect all your spaces?
No, and we divided the park up into zones so that each day one person only waters one zone. So
Right,
we
it
won't
probably
have-
takes an hour
It
to,
takes less than an hour, but it's very labor intensive. And
correct.
we've talked a lot about a watering system. We have a number of challenges on that. First of all, there's a lot of stuff under there. The kind of watering system that's on the surface, we have a lot of rats.
So you think they'll chew
And
through
oh, they
everything?
do. I mean, because we had one in the Fish Bridge Garden, which is nearby, and they chew holes in the,
In the plastic?
in the
Okay,
and
thank
so-
you, that's very helpful, because it's,
I think we will explore that more. There's some other options that we've looked at, but,
because the city does have underground soaker hoses or drip irrigation, because it's the only way to keep plants alive in the heat of July or August. So,
we had a lot, we were really up against it in July and August, and if we hadn't gone out there every day,
correct,
the things were wilting.
right, and it was a rainy
Yep.
season, so that's the thing on top, this was rainier than normal summer.
There are ways, I think, that we can finesse that. There are some kind of metal-based systems you can move on the surface, but we haven't gotten there yet.
So are you connected with the other friends of, I'm sure you are, and I know some of them have access to compost from the city that's very low cost, or, mulch from the city that's very low cost. Is that something that you're already tapping into, and that just, you're so new, you don't really get because you don't have the volume and you're new and everybody else gets first? Is that one of the problems?
I mean, all of those things are true. We're new, we don't know all the ins and outs, and our gardener, who's also new,
Right.
this is his first year, doesn't quite know how to help us get compost and that sort of thing, but, we're working on that front too.
Yeah, and I don't know if we can help you on that front, but I think that's the other thing is that, I just helped Rosa Chang with the Brooklyn Bridge banks, that there were over 200 native plants donated, and I was out there shoveling and putting them in the ground. And so there are times where there's a supply over at the end of the season, and so they can get things. So, that's the thing in terms of helping you tap into that world. Not that I know it, but I know those folks do.
Good idea.
And if you don't have an advisory council between all the friends of parks downtown, because sometimes there is we have plants, we want to get rid of them before the winter comes.
Right.
Who wants them? I think that's what's happening.
We have a little plan because, in the City Hall Park, they break up all the leaves and they bag them. And, our gardeners agreed to go over and pick up those bags and bring them over to the park.
Use them
So
for mulch.
we can use it for mulch, and we also have a compost pile, which is doing really well, sort of in the middle of one of the beds, because this is supposed to be a sustainable garden, and we didn't want any organic material to be sent out,
Sounds like you're doing a really wonderful job. So hats off. Thank you for doing this. All of that volunteer work is very noticed. I have to say, I noticed the huge improvement, and, it's nice to see it actually in a slide presentation versus just walking by it. So congratulations.
Any other?
Yeah, I think it's a great job. I would speak in favor of it, and I think the one thing that park needed was more greenery. And it was just concrete at the beginning, and I think it's great that you're adding the greenery. I would support that. And I would say, I'm sure the Peck Slip School uses that all the time. Pass by there during the day, during school hours, there's always kids in there. And I think it's also great for the community, the neighborhood, because there are a bunch of stores, businesses, small businesses along South Street. There's a Passanella Wine, which I always go to, and several others. There's a pizza restaurant there now, and it's by the Tin Building. And I think it's just great beautification of the area, and I think your proposal is great.
Great. Before I come back to Jill Lerner, anyone online have any questions?
Yes, we
Paul?
have we have two hands up. Mary, I know you, Mary and Detta. I will move them over. Mary, you'll go first. Mary, go ahead. You can unmute. Mary Decker?
Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you. I love to hear the positive feedback on Carolyn's presentation. Um, I sit here as one of the volunteers and one of the people who saw this park when it first was finished and how sad it was. And to see what's going on now is just so impressive. And I love the sense of community that we have in this park. And I especially am appreciative of Carolyn's hard work and her, not just her and her husband's work ethic, but their leadership and their personal contributions to the park, monetarily as well as, getting their hands dirty. It's such a joy to see the reception that the transformation in the park has garnered. And I love to hear the committee talking about this in a positive sense, because this is good stuff that's going on here. Thank you.
And you said Detta Omej? So Detta, I think you've been moved over and you can unmute yourself.
Hi, yeah, thanks. My hand was up from much earlier, but when you were discussing quorum, I just wanted to make just say that it's 51%. So, if a committee is 19 people, that means 10 is quorum. If it's 20 people, that means 11 is quorum. And then at the beginning of Carolyn's presentation, I also had my hand up because it was just very hard to hear her as a presenter. But it did get a bit better. So.
Okay, thank you for that.
Mhm.
Got it. Omej, anyone else online? Okay, I think we have one or two more back in the room. Eric?
Yeah, thank you for what you've been doing. I live in the area in Southbridge, so I appreciate all of the improvements there. You mentioned a lot about perennials and shrubs. Do you have any specimen trees that are really?
The park has a little more than half a dozen trees, and they are elms. And, I've forgotten what the other ones are, but they are native trees.
Okay, Joe, did you?
Okay, so let's.
Okay.
And is it the budget request for us to ask in our budget list at the end of the year, or where is the budget request to?
My understanding that you make the request of the Parks Department.
Mhm.
That it's a priority for you, which enhances the possibility that we'll get it.
It sounds like,
Next year.
sounds like
Right,
a
so-
potential addition to this.
Addition to this.
I may not know exactly the right way to do
No,
this, because
that's,
I'm a little new at this.
it's perfectly fine. Yeah, so thank you for that.
Okay,
We have two hands. We have Eric Himmel. Eric, go ahead. Eric, you may unmute.
Eric.
Here I am. Thank you. Hi. Yeah, I just wanted to say I'm one of the more active members of Friends of Pexlet Park. In relation to watering, the native plants are very drought resistant, and once they get established, it would be great to have a watering system. But I think that we can get the frequency of watering down a bit. And one of the pleasures of watering is that you see your neighbors and they see you. So if we can get to some kind of if we get these plants established, they'll do okay even in August or even in July and August with once or twice a week watering, and that would be just great. Thanks.
Great. Thanks, Eric.
Okay, and then lastly, we have Miriam. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. You may unmute.
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for your support. I'm one of the volunteers who has been watering the park throughout the summer, and I wanted to say that so many people stop by and say that they can't get over the transformation of the park, and they just love the way it looks. And there are people with small children and people with dogs. And when I get there early in the morning, I notice especially that a lot of people who work in the neighborhood, including the traffic police from near the Brooklyn Bridge, I guess, are sitting in the park on their breaks and really enjoying the greenery and the little bit of shade that we have so far. So it's just a great asset to the neighborhood in many, many ways.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Let's make this the last comment, Wendy.
Yeah, and I just wanted to also say, as we all know, this area is prone to flooding. You're in a low area. So even though the park is small and it can't absorb nearly everything that's coming, the amount, any amount of absorption from the plants that you're doing, I just want to say that that's another help. And I think we should help you in terms of getting as much of an organic sponge as possible to get every little piece of that to be a grabber of the water. That's a good thing as well. So thank you.
At the very beginning, when we started, it's just like it was like a rock.
Right.
And the water just ran right off the top because the dogs had just turned.
Yeah, I don't know if, are you in touch with Maggie Sienna, who's the principal at Peck Slip, if there's any partnership between the parks as well? 'Cause-
We haven't done that yet, but we thought about it.
Yeah, I could imagine like a release the worms in the
Yeah.
early spring or something like that. Yeah, thank you, or
And
butterflies.
I think Nate could do tours and talk to the kids about all the, what they're seeing.
Yeah, if you need any help with introductions, I'm sure you can figure it out, but we can help as a community board as well. Sure.
Great. Thank you for a fantastic presentation, and again, all the great work. Really super.
Let's show this to Adam.
So, Paul, I'm going to kick this over to you. We've essentially covered the printed agenda, but we do have the budget items in the room as a handout. Are we walking through this tonight?
I guess if there's any additions or changes that we need to make to the budget, it pretty much goes in as is every year. It doesn't change too much.
Do we have the most recent?
Usually, but if anyone has any changes, now is the time to put them in.
So just before we.
Also, I'd like to add that I sent around a form for any new ideas that members of the board have that you want to add to the list of requests.
I mean, maybe we should suggest Peck Slip as an addition for this year.
Do we need to take a vote on that, Paul?
Yes, Paul.
Straw poll?
I guess
Yes,
we
I guess
can.
an advisory straw poll. So why don't we do that? So let's assume consent unless we hear otherwise. So is there anyone opposed to adding a budget item of $3,500 laid out by Caroline? Anyone opposed? Any abstentions? Any recusals? Okay, so we will add that to.
You're not gonna believe it when you see it. Guys,
Probably has a chance.
it has no.
And,
So why don't we, Paul, if you're okay, can I propose, starting with, is there anything on this report that we're proposing to remove?
So I'm curious about the, obviously the gas lights in City Hall Park haven't, that's not been a thing. But I think in addition, is that something that we want to continue to put on there as the city electrifies? I mean,
Sorry, which item are you?
I'm sorry, the second page last item. And
The
I'm,
second page, last item, City Hall Park gas light.
and I'm the first one to say, when they worked, they were really beautiful. But, I think when we as a city or, everything is going towards electrification, that we may be out of out of step with where the city's going as a rule.
So is there a proposal to remove it?
Yeah, I think it's just, it's not, I don't think they're going to do it, and I don't think it's a priority for us anymore, at least in terms of like, I would only like to have things on here that I actually think have a real chance of moving forward. And I think that, I think it's the sentiment of the city has changed.
So there's a suggestion to remove that. Does anyone have any questions?
It says fund the transition from gas to LEDs. Isn't that the trend that we're going?
But I don't think that the gas lights don't work anymore. So, I mean, I don't know, maybe we need to investigate what's happening with this. There are lights there, they're not gas. So I'm just kind of like, I just think the whole item, we don't need to have it on our list.
I remember voting on this like about 2 years ago, and we wanted then the city parks department to transition to LED lights that simulate like what it was. But
I mean, I'm happy for some, we can go down there. I just know that the gas lights aren't running right now.
yeah, but they're not trying to put them back. We want to put LEDs.
I just don't want us to look silly to have an item on here that's kind of not relevant to what our priorities are. I mean, I kind of think like everything on here, we have to say, yeah, this is what we think is the most important stuff to get funded. I mean, there's a lot of things that I would like to have on a list, but I was just like, if you have a list, I'd rather the list be shorter. I don't know. That's just me. Because somebody has to read all of this and, they'll be like, well, we do have, maybe they already, I don't know, maybe they even have LEDs in the city hall park. I don't know. I know it's not gas. I don't know what kind of lights they are.
Not enough. It's a little dark. I mean, that's, going there at night, it's a little dark. Yeah.
The only way I can think of responding to this is Wendy has raised a point. Should we keep this in the budget request?
All right, why don't we submit that to the executive committee?
Okay.
Do we want to represent the view of this committee?
That's fine. Let's go.
All right. Okay.
It's time for dinner.
Any other comments as it relates to items on this report? Otherwise, it's going in with an advisory recommendation to add 3,500 to the budget for Peck Slip Park.
So like, I'm sorry, because I'm just reading some of this now, like maybe Richard could tell us what's happening at Pier 26 Estuarium.
So let me take that one. And actually.
Where is it on?
That's the third page, second item.
Thank you.
So Tammy and Hudson River Park Trust are working to plan the next public session or session with the community to get feedback and input. That is currently being scheduled for October. The plan is to try and get something on the calendar for October 30th. So this is written, I think, quite general intentionally, because we don't really have a view yet on exactly what that build out is going to be.
Okay.
So it would seem, my response to that would be, it would seem okay to keep it as written.
Yeah.
And then as we have a plan, it will provide more definition around the cost. That's what will, I guess, go to the appropriate agency.
Many years ago, someone recommended a barge like they have in Paris for swimming.
Does that make sense, Wendy, or?
Sure. Yeah, no, that's totally fine. Yeah. Yeah, it's just one of the, like, I was just reading through it quickly, just saying, what, it seemed general, so, since we did this exercise last night, the environmental committee, that seemed, those are very big projects and, a similar type of thing. I mean, I think that this is a little different tonight because some of our issues are, a couple, $3,000 for a few plants in the park is a very different thing than some of these others. So, and this, I get, yeah, a capital expense and what's capital and what's just an expense. I don't know if that's, that was something that yesterday's exercise, I don't know if this is laid out slightly different than what I looked at yesterday. Because obviously that's not a capital expense for the,
How did that factor into that committee's consideration, what to keep or what to modify?
I think we didn't, I think we didn't get there, I think that's the thing it wasn't as clear. So I think that's the thing in terms of, it's one thing to do a capital expense like the Bluestone pathways in City Hall Park that we all know that are broken, that need to be done versus, $3,000 for some plants from the Parks Department budget. I just want to make sure that they get in the right place so that people aren't be like, why am I looking at a $3,000 request, versus, the whole resiliency of I Seaport. Those are to Joe's point, those are slightly different price tags.
You could add a couple of zeros on there, move the decimal.
Yeah. So, and maybe that's the thing, I'm not quite sure. I just want to make sure that whatever we're presenting ends up in the right place so that it doesn't get dropped or ignored because we happen to submit it in the wrong way.
I've done this for years.
I would think that all of these reports are, speaking without firsthand knowledge, but are reviewed and appropriately formatted such that it's one submission on behalf of Community Board One. I would think that's the process, but we can confirm that.
Okay.
When it goes to executive.
Thank you.
Makes sense.
Yep. Yeah.
So I think then is there general support for this, and what will go to exec is as an advisory motion is to add slip budget and to discuss the element of the City Hall Park gas lights, just to get some clarity on that.
So one thing I didn't see on here is the park, what are they calling it? The Rotary Park for the Holland Tunnel Rotary Park. Is that on here and I've missed it?
It's not on here. Was there any specific?
Didn't we add that in the environmental protection yesterday?
It is, but I think that it is both a park and, environmental component.
True.
So I think it should be in both our lists. And if we want to combine it, that's fine. But I just think that, in the environmental committee, we're very supportive of it. And I think this committee is as well.
So I'll follow up with Paul, and I guess we'll probably discuss it with Tammy, how she wants to handle.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good catch.
I think the public pool is always, thank you for including that. That's my
Pet project.
pet project. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I, yeah, great.
Before we wrap, any other comments, questions, thoughts? Or it looks like you wanna.
No, I'm just curious, is there a suggested location for the public pool? Yeah.
What do you say it again?
Any suggested locations?
Well, listen, Plus Pool, which is not necessarily listed in here, which is fine, but I also think there's many places for it. We would take it wherever it would go, but I think.
Get the money. I'm a big advocate of it.
And I just love how it's written this time because it's, a small pop-up pool in a shipping container. That's, awesome. That's a great thing as well. Is the Barnett Newton Triangle Park in here too? That comes up all the time. Is that on the list and I missed it? Don't we want that to be I mean, Carrie's mentioning that they're trying to create a Friends of. But it seems like we would want to support that on this list as well, right? Did I miss that?
What is that?
Barnett Newman, is there a budget item for Barnett Newman?
I don't think I think it should be on the list. We can write something general like you did for the Duane Park expansion. You can write something for Barnett Newman that's general. I don't know what the language would be, but it could be something, contribute funding to the expansion of Barnett Newman as proposed by the newly Friends of, or whatever it is that's coming together. I don't know.
So I don't know if it's not a budgetary item. Because in the email trail on what I was reading, I didn't read all of it. Alice had asked, have we addressed the issue of community amenity or community benefit as a result of these art installations? I'm not saying that's why it may not be here. It's not here.
Well, I know that the other thing is this was, am I forgetting this? Is this the same situation where there was like a developer that was supposed to give money that then reneged on that? And then because they didn't have anything in writing, even though it was literally in every newspaper, local newspaper, they were able to worm out of their contribution to it. And I think we have, as a neighborhood, supported this park being restored.
I mean, Alice has certainly been quite vocal about
Correct.
Barnett Newman, so.
I think it
Paul,
should
could
be-
we again follow up with Alice and Tammy?
Yeah,
should be on the list,
Alice has
maybe,
not let go of that.
Yeah,
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm surprised it's not on this list.
okay.
Wendy, though, you're correct about the situation. It is a developer that was supposed to build it or fund it.
Right. Yeah, they're not coming back. So,
So I just want to make sure I have everything we've been discussing, so. Advisory recommendation on adding pet slip and Pexville Park and 3,500. Should we add the Holland Tunnel Rotary to this budget in addition to the environmental? And then status of Barnett Newman. If that should be added here. Everyone in agreement with that?
the other thing that comes to mind too is, and I don't know, again, if this is capital or expense, is that we've had these wonderful presentations about how much more expensive it is to plant trees in the city now. And there's a new initiative for the new 1,000,000 trees. Should that be on this list as well? That we would like to participate in having the trees put in CB1. As I think I don't remember, but it's several $1,000s now per tree.
Yeah, all for it.
Okay. You're all over this.
Well, you know what?
Which is good.
This is one of those
Good.
things
That's
that,
what
you
we're
know,
supposed to be doing.
I'm trying to remember all the things that we sat through and paid attention to. But, you know, as we know from school funding and everything else, the process is what's on this paper versus what actually gets funded or not. This is not a huge big deal, I understand.
Is an ask.
But, and I'm sure we have, Brooklyn Bridge Park specifically. Did I see that? I just, where is the Brooklyn Bridge Park, Gotham Park? It has a few different names.
Let me check with Rose on that. I don't see it in here. Thought it was.
I thought it was too, but that should be, to me, that is our priority. I would want to put that almost number one on the list because the mayor showed up and the mayor is interested in this park and already the things that they've been able to do have been really great. And they do have a wonderful, needed repair. No, that's it. That's not the same thing. Yeah, so,
I'm sure Rose is taking a look at this and I'll follow up with her to see.
but I think that needs a description as long as the public pool. Because she already has a whole, like, you know, what they're doing and that plan is already coming together.
Right.
So,
Okay.
yeah, okay,
I'll follow up with her.
yeah, thank you.
Yeah, the last one, the, increased full-time personnel for Parks Department enforcement officers. Yeah, I think this is essential because
Sorry, which one are you
the
on?
last one.
Um,
I'm sorry.
Third page, last one.
Okay.
Last one.
Yeah.
And I think that needs to say, Battery Park City, because PEP officers are only in Battery Park City.
Well, we want to increase it for the other parks to make sure that the other parks,
Including the battery, but
Yeah, I don't think,
East River Esplanade.
this might have been driven by Battery Park, but I don't think the way it's written limits it, because it says including in the battery, which to me is.
I mean, I have no
Parks
problem, I'm okay with increasing it for everybody, but it's also for the other parks where they don't currently patrol, or at least I've never seen them.
But why do you read this as not?
sorry, yeah, I was gonna say, so it doesn't,
No, it doesn't,
You-
it's saying that including the battery. So, but then when he says they already patrol the battery, so I'm saying that,
no, I'm Battery Park.
yeah, battery park. I'm saying that we have to make sure that they patrol all parks in CD one, especially like the east, you know, the Esplanade as well as Peck Slip, all the other parks we have.
I could get that, I guess I'm asking why you don't read this language as saying that. I don't think it's limiting to battery, I said that, I'm.
Well,
Okay.
Can I interject for a second? Hi, hey everybody. Yeah, so I just wanted to clarify that this list is the 2024 list, right? What exec is going to be submitting is the 2025 list. This list has the 2024 requests as well as the responses received for those requests, and is up to the board to determine whether the responses received are the responses you were looking for. If they are, and it was responded to the way that you had intended, then you need to discard it. So you need to figure out which ones you're going to discard, which ones are, you know, we no longer need to put a request in for, because the response was appropriate and it answered whatever you were asking for. And secondly, you need to figure out if the ones that you want to put back in as a request, the ones that you're leaving, and they hadn't been answered the way you wanted it to, if you're going to change the language and update the language based on the response that was given by OMB.
So the overwhelming majority of these say this request requires further study. To me, those are ones we keep in because we didn't get an answer. Right? Just says requires further.
Yes, and it's up to you now to determine if you want to update or change that language in any way for your request, to make sure to see if there's, I don't know, you want to change the language to see if like it would actually get an appropriate response. Because more than likely, if it says that as the response now and you submit it again with the exact same language, you're going to get this exact same response. Just something to know. Carry on.
I want to finish this one. Yeah. So this one, it doesn't have a request name. It should be park security. And I noticed that there was no response. So, Onej, if there's no response, what does that mean? Was our request ambiguous, or they just haven't gotten to it?
Yeah, you just have to put it back in, but then if you want to make some changes to it and clarify it a little bit more, I would advise you to do that. You want to make the request as clear as possible and directed to a specific agency if possible.
Then for this one, I would like to take out and maintenance workers, because I think this one should just be for security, because there's another one that mentions about parks workers for maintenance, but this one should be dedicated only for parks security.
Okay. So, sorry, just before we move on, so Eric's suggestion is we put park security in the box to the left, which sort of categorizes it. Is there any, so you're proposing to remove increase full-time personnel, Parks Department, PEP officers. You're proposing to remove and maintenance
Right,
workers?
because there's already another request where it mentions, maintenance for parks.
Got it?
Yeah.
And do we want the detail that goes behind that? Because the reason why the battery is specifically mentioned, as we all know, there have been a number of incidents, including, guns being shot in that area. And that, a lot of the elected officials have showed up. This hasn't been in the last year, but I know that I went, I think when that was, when we were all down there. It was over a year ago, but this is a place where illegal tickets are sold and, several other things. So I think, do you need the detail to go with it, or is it just understood?
I think it's probably understood, but what if we were to say, including in the battery due to a rise in crime or a rise in
Or concerning incidents, or, I'm not sure what the language is.
Illegal activity?
Well, it's more than just illegal activity though, too, because it's aggressiveness. It's not necessarily illegal to be aggressive with tourists, but there's a lot of aggressiveness with tourists. And I think that's the one thing is that, we learned that that's one of the few jobs that people that are, that can come right out of, they have to, that people that take these jobs are lacking customer service skills to be general.
is there any language you want to propose, or?
I mean, concerning incidents in the park or, we can leave it, I don't know, maybe that's something Tammy and others can figure out, but the reason the battery is, and obviously in some cases this needs police presence, but,
I like what you said, concerning incidents in the park.
right.
So increase full-time personnel for Parks Department enforcement, PEP officers, including in the battery concerning incidents in the park.
I'd like to add East River, Esplanade.
That's what?
They need more police.
So what I've proposed is in the box next to DPR, all parks in CB1.
Well, if they're gonna name Battery, I'd like to name East River Esplanade.
But then I think we're starting to create language that focuses on
Well, that's,
specific parks versus an all-encompassing statement.
well,
That would be my,
if they're gonna name one park, I'd like them to name another park.
okay, I'm just pointing out, what we may be doing is getting the focus on two
I
parks.
walk that park 6 days a week, and it's overcrowded, and bicycles and motorcycles and skateboards.
Joe, I'm not disputing what you're putting forward. I agree with that. All I'm pointing out is,
I hear you.
as we
I
start
heard what you
naming
said.
parks, we might be narrowing the focus of our ask.
I know, but I'd like to include that.
They're both large parks.
So,
East River Park.
East River Promenade.
Park or amenity.
Yes.
So when, this is a little confusing, it says reconstruct, okay, so this last page, second to the, the second thing down there, reconstruct or upgrade a park or amenity, i.e. playground, outdoor athletic field. And yet the description is rebuild comfort station and park office in the battery.
Sorry, which one are you on?
So the last page,
Which one?
the second item,
311 location assistant.
no, the very last page. Yeah, no, the very last page. It seems like they don't go together. Reconstruct or upgrade a park or amenity, i.e. playground, outdoor athletic field. And then the description is rebuild comfort station and park office in the battery. Which both are good, but they don't seem to be related to each other. You know what I'm saying?
Well, in the last two bullets, aren't they exactly the same?
Oh, yeah, you're right. And then, it seems like the description somehow, maybe it got copied over improperly, just when people were, whoever was typing it up. But to this point, this, is the, so the renovate the
How
path,
do we?
yeah, the renovate the pathway does go with upgrading the park description. But rebuilding the comfort station, I actually think, Mimi has been doing such a wonderful job giving us presentations about lack of bathrooms in CB1. maybe it's, increase park bathrooms, and then, that's the description. I mean, we want more bathrooms in, or any park that doesn't have a, I mean, I guess a little complicated because the park needs to be of a certain size.
So we're okay keeping rebuild comfort station. We need to change the language in the first box.
Yeah, I think somehow they didn't copy that over
Right.
correctly, to your
So
point, that there's two of the same.
What might we reword it to?
I think it's, whatever Mimi's initiative, maybe we ask her about bringing more back, bring more bathrooms to Community Board One's, major parks. I think we have to say major parks because obviously, a little Barnett, Newman Triangle doesn't need one, but,
So if we were to do that again, this seems to me to be very location specific. What you're
Right.
proposing seems to be more general.
well, I think the other thing that my understanding is that, specific helps find a way to the right
I guess what I'm
place.
asking, should it be two separate? So this one where we're specifically talking about the battery and update amenities.
Well, and the other
battery,
thing,
or-
yeah, well, the other thing I don't know the answer to is that when they rebuilt the playground, Rory Price did a wonderful job coming in and telling us that they also redid the little storage room and bathroom for the staff. I'm assuming this is the battery bathroom in the north part, not related to the playground. So, are we asking, I mean, that's the thing, it's like, I'm not sure. We're rolling it over from last year. Maybe this got built last year. Maybe this is the bathroom associated with the playground. I just don't know the answer to that. Yeah, because some things we,
So if it got built, presumably that would have been in their response, if you look at their response.
yeah, and I don't know the answer to that. But anyway, I'm just raising the question to say, which one are we talking about? Because, there is a bathroom in the north side. Which I think is actually okay. I've used it, but I do think in general, we probably have parks in CB1 that could use a bathroom. So maybe it's just a general Mimi initiative saying we want more park bathrooms. And if any of the park bathrooms are not working, they should be fixed.
Open up your it's there.
So more park bathrooms and
Yeah, repairs to existing and added bathroom, added capacity in parks throughout Community Board One. I'm not quite sure what the language is. Mimi would do a good job, knowing the language that, Mark, Levine is, this is his issue as well. It's nice when, things align with what are in the press and what people are looking for. I don't know if we can use their language.
Why not? Everyone uses.
right, so
Best form of flattery, right?
more bathrooms.
Yeah, so. Yeah, that can be, general.
Okay,
Yeah.
anything else? Anyone online? Any other thoughts or comments?
Can we vote on this?
Yes, in an advisory capacity. So let me just summarize what I captured. So adding 3,500 for Peck Slip Park. Holland Tunnel Battery, subject to discussion with Tammy about, we should have it here, given we have it in environmental. Potentially adding Barnett Newman. Adding support for more tree installations in Community Board One, more bathrooms in park areas around Community Board One. Checking with Rosa on Brooklyn Bridge, and if there should be an item added here. And we tweaked the last item on page 3 to park security. We added language about concerning incidents, the battery, and also East River Park Esplanade. And then we're gonna go to Exco on the City Hall Park gas lights.
Well, I don't see it, I'm okay with leaving it in there. I think it's important to keep that. We need that's, I wouldn't say the jewel of CP1's, I mean, that's City Hall. It's important for it to look well.
I think city, I would definitely, maybe we can combine it because that park needs to be upgraded. It was last done during the Giuliani administration. So I think maybe could you combine that with the slate tiles or what do we call it, the bluestone? Maybe it's in the same thing, because that park, bluestone pathways in City Hall Park, the
We have
first.
four City Hall Park items.
Yeah, so maybe we can combine all the City
That's
Hall
fine.
Park
So
to
then
say
we
like,
go,
just what Gary
overall
told us.
Renovation of City Hall Park.
Correct.
Including but not limited to.
Throw them all in there, yeah, because that park needs a lot of attention.
Okay.
Let's see. And so basically we got any of the Parks Department items, and we're not going to comment on like EDC or other agencies. Is that what happened in terms of sorting this?
Well, there is a waterfront.
There's a what?
There's an issue here having to do with waterfront, not even parks.
Right, because I mean, I was definitely having that thought, because I'm going through, whether that's EDC, there's a lot of, so this seems to me that we just got a sort of what goes to parks,
Yeah.
and we didn't get a sort of what goes
Well,
to,
This seems, two things on that. This seems to me shorter than what I've seen online.
uh-huh,
And two, yes, everything here seems to be directed to parks. And the waterfront issue, I don't think is appropriate there.
So there is a waterfront issue on here.
Yeah.
Which is the last item on page 1.
Exactly.
but this,
You're saying it's out of place here?
I don't think it belongs.
the last of
Parks.
It might not, we might not have the right agency, but in terms
That's
of
the-
waterfront parks,
Exactly it.
we
It's not
still
the right
believe this is a relevant item that our WPC committee should
Well,
submit.
looking at
Well,
416, I'd say absolutely.
Yeah, so
Well-
we need to review the agency. aspect.
yeah,
That's
definitely
all.
the
That's
agency,
all.
because that's one of the things I was just looking through, like some of the things that I commented on yesterday. And definitely this is sorted in a very different way than what got sent. Anyway, that's, this doesn't seem to have the tracking code or some other things that were on what I was looking at yesterday.
So I have a point to bring forward with the Exco in terms of formatting and ensuring all the content that's needed for submission is captured.
Okay, yeah.
Because I don't know what the right format or final format is.
Yeah, I think that's a good question for Zach.
Yeah, tonight.
Yeah,
I'll
exactly.
for Zach. Okay,
Okay, thank
so
you so
given the
much.
summary I mentioned, or is there agreement? That's what we're going to focus on? Okay. I just want to take 2 very quick minutes. I will be super quick. I just want to give you some updates related to Hudson River Park. So Pier 25 has a ship that is docked there. I will just very quickly read you the summary we received. So this is from Hudson River Park. We are happy to be able to host the Victory Chimes, a schooner from 1900 in one of our vessel berths as a temporary visiting historic ship. Victory Chimes is on view and is scheduled to be there for 3 months. There is not a public visitation or tour because the setup does not have a gangway for safe access, but Victory Chimes is paying regular dockage fees. You may remember the fireboat Governor Alfred E. Smith, which did a similar visitation a year or 2 ago. This is similar to that. Victory Chimes was featured on the main state quarter, so it is quite the coup for New York to get it, even temporarily. For New York, which recently purchased the vessel, has not announced its plans yet, so I can't speculate on whether they intend to do tours, education, et cetera, long term. I don't have any other information, so I can't answer any of your questions. Apologies. Pier 26, Estuarium mentioned there's an effort to get a session with the community the evening. I guess it's a Monday, October 30th. More to come on that. Gansevoort Peninsula, not in CB1, but certainly something that will be used by CB1 residents. It opened, I think, 2 weeks ago, 2 Mondays ago, if I'm not mistaken. There was an opening ceremony. Just a fabulous, fabulous model of a multi-purpose space. There's a beach there, there's a dog walk there, there's recreational space. Again, you can go online and look at it, or better yet, go actually walk it. It's just beautiful, really fantastic. And I'm just always impressed how much activity or passive activity as well they can build in these footprints.
What street is that on?
It's right
Right
across
by the Whit-
west of the Whitney, so 13th, 14th Street, right?
I'm trying to think.
And then finally, Pier 76. I think it was previously reported, the task force has been reconvened to discuss a long-term vision for that pier. Now, that is in Community Board 4, and Community Board 4 historically, sharing my opinion and observation, they have been willing to accept a balance of commercial activity in the park to help build more park space. So the committee's been looking at or discussing potential strategies and schematics, and nothing is even remotely close to being put on paper as a plan, but various schematics and potential use cases are being discussed and vetted. Again, not in our community board, but CB1 has 2 seats on that task force. Tammy's one and I'm the other. So that's it.
Let's vote on this.
Vote on what?
We didn't vote on the budget.
Sorry, I didn't formally do. Is anyone opposed? Yeah, anyone opposed to what we had summarized? Any abstentions? Any recusals? Great. Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone.
Great job,
Yes.
Mr. Chair.
I'm just filling in for Paul, who's our chair.
Well, Vice Chair, okay?
Thank you.
You're like the Speaker of the House, pro tem.
Committee, and I'll say